Hey guys, I'm Arian. I'm one of your admins at Perfect Anti Trading. Today we're going to be looking at the flip and ride indicator. I'll mainly be following all the sort of the settings and everything from the guide I already have. So feel free to sort of look back into that. This will mainly be like a sort of like a summary on how to use the flip and ride indicator. So if you start looking at some charts. Right, so we've got the chart in front of us. We've got our flip and ride indicator right there. If I show you the settings one more time, so the inputs, these are all the inputs there. Feel free to pause the video and have a look for yourself. But again, this is in the PDF itself. All right. Right. So let's have a look at some examples. So to find essentially a perfect trade with the flip and ride, obviously it has to be close to the moving average. So we're gonna play from the moving average upwards or downwards, depending on where the sort of the chart is trending. A few of the main things we're gonna sort of focus on are the RSIs. So the RSI 14 I have right there. The RSI 40 is just below. So if I can give you like an example of a good trade, it would be sort of that one there. So in this case, obviously the chart is trending sort of upwards, and we're going to wait for the chart to move towards the moving average. So in this case, we're only going to be looking at long positions, right? So if we look there, obviously it's hit our MA. And if we sort of confirm the entry with the RSIs, the RSI 14 is just sort of below or touching the 25, sort of 20, 29, 28 mark there, which is approaching 25. And the RSI 40 is actually just below the 50. So that's meeting all our criterias. But we don't just enter the trade there. We need to wait for a few sort of green candles to move upwards. Then we can sort of confirm it is moving upwards. So in this case, we'll enter the trade sort of around there after we've seen a few green candles moving up. And if I also show you how to set your stop loss and take profits, if I got a long position there, enter it right there. Keep that around there. In this case, usually off the MA, I'm only going to take 1-to-1 trades or 2-to-1 trades maximum, just to be safe and just to make sure the take profit is hit. So the trade will sort of look like that. Even though I know when this strategy is mainly sort of based around scalping rather than day trade or swing trades. So we're going to take our 2-to-1 sort of profit and move off. If I show you a few more examples, you can see one sort of just around. Obviously, these are going to be good signals, but they're going to be a little bit more risky, as the RSI 40 is not above the 50 line mark. Obviously, they're still decent trades. There's still money to be made. There are loads of pips there to be made, but they will be a little bit more risky. So in that case, I'd probably keep our stop losses a lot more tighter and only aim for 1-to-1 trades rather than sort of 2-to-1 that we will go for usually. And again, sort of there, that again is quite a risky trade. RSI 40 is sort of hovering around the 50 mark rather than moving sort of above the 50 mark. In that case, again, that'll be a pretty decent trade. Take a few pips off and then take your profits and run. Things to look out for, mainly in sort of like fake outs, is how quickly the chart sort of moves. In this case, if I show you a perfect example of where to not trade, sort of there. So you can see obviously it's hit our the MA there. The RSI 14 is where we sort of want it to be, and the RSI 40 is just below the 50 mark there. But for our entry, you can see the chart, the candles aren't moving as quickly upwards. That's usually a good sort of sign. If it's not moving very quickly upwards, the chances are it's probably going to move downwards, if that's all makes sense. In this case, it would set up for a nice sort of long trade, but if you see sort of how the candles are sort of behaving there, it's not a very sort of strong movement up. Hence why in this case we would not enter the trade, even though everything is adding up. Just be careful of that. And if you do sort of want to enter that trade, take a bit of risk. Just make sure your stop losses are very tight and just below the first green candle, you get upwards. That'll be one of the things we're going to look out for. Look at another sort of near perfect sort of entry signal there. The graph is sort of below the MA, moving close to the MA, and you can see nice sort of rejection downwards there. The RSI 14 again approaching 75, which is perfect. RSI 40 is very close to sort of like a 50 mark there. But in this case, the way the candles are moving downwards does look like a very strong move, hence why you would take that trade there. So there are a few things to look out for. Definitely, you don't want to get caught up in a few losing streaks. But that's basically the way the chart, the flip and ride works. It's very simple. It's only based on the MA, the RSI, like we talked about, but Taylor has added a few more things to it. He calls it his magic touch. I don't actually know what it is, but that has sort of given it a little bit more credibility, and a little bit more sort of consistency in sort of the indicator. Again, another sort of great sell, perfect scenario, right there. It's above the MA. It's going to sort of move towards the MA. You get the great signal there, sell signal there. If you look at the RSI 14, perfectly sort of close to the 75 mark there. RSI 40 is above the 50 mark. Really, really sort of nice entry signal there. Obviously, you got to wait for the strong candles moving downwards first. So in this case, I would so you can take a little bit more sort of risk on this trade. The rate of return will be a little bit higher as it will move closer to the MA. So you would wait for if I show you sort of like an example, you'd enter sort of just around there after you've seen a couple strong sort of strong red candles. So you pop it there and keep the take profit right near your MA. So keep that just above there, and keep it there. So that again would be sort of like a 3-to-1 risk ratio trade. There. So that almost basically covers everything on flip and ride. One thing I do also want to talk about is the dollar cost averaging. Sometimes you will find, like in this case, the trade can break the MA, sort of consolidate just below and move up. So one thing I do to counter that usually is to sort of, rather than, because I sort of specialize in account flips, so I take £100, try and flip to 200, and then go back down to 100, and then trying to flip it again, basically. So what I would do, rather than taking a 0.5 lot position on it straight away, 0.05, I mean 0.5 would be a lot. Rather than taking a 0.05 lot trade on that straight away, I'd probably go 0.02 there. See how it does. Obviously, because it's lower lots, you can risk a little bit more, as you can sort of take a few more pips there. So the second trade, I would probably pop around there, and you can see sort of a little bit of resistance there. So I'd probably put the stop loss just below there. Do 0.02 lots there, 0.3 lots around there when I can see the sort of strong move upwards. Put my stop loss near that local support and just let it run. That's one way you can sort of use dollar cost averaging to your advantage, so that you don't get these false breakouts, even though it is moving very nicely upwards and there's a lot of pips to take. That would be the way to do dollar cost averaging, I'd say. But that pretty much covers everything on flip and ride. It's not a very long video. It's a very easy indicator to use. You can see the credibility of the signals are really good. You can catch a lot of pips in that case. If I show you just an example, that's nearly 1,000 pips downwards, which you could take essentially. And again, I would be basically hosting a few more lives. I'm hoping to do sort of like one live in every 2 weeks. But if I can see sort of a little bit more demand, if you guys want me to do a live a week, I'm fairly happy to do that. So please just let me know. That's fine. And also, I'll also be doing some sort of live trades on the flip and ride. So if I'm taking a few trades, I'll quickly just turn on my video, and then sort of show you how I'm gonna base the trade off flip and ride, what lot size I'm gonna use, account sizes, and everything like that. So there's loads more content to come your way. I'm also trying to use some of the other sort of indicators with flip and ride, just to see what the credibility is with that. I have been using the LMI from Pip Hunter, which has shown sort of a little bit of promise. But I'll need to do a little bit more back testing on that, and then sort of get back to you guys on that. But yeah, so there's loads more to come, guys. Feel free to DM me on Discord. No problems with that, and take care. See you guys later.